Hey, how's it going? Happy Saturday. Mad Scientist here today. Oh gosh, I'm just gonna leave it. It's a little bit wild, extra curly because all the heat and humidity and everything that's going on. My camera's a little bit off. Let me just adjust this just a tiny bit. That better? I think that's better. How's it going? Happy Saturday. Hopefully I can read from here. I think I can. Man, how's everybody doing? How are you? Thank you for the resub. What was that? Sorry. Mathney, thanks for the resub. Nice to see you again. Thank you so much. And PC Geek, dude, 9 months. Keep up the great work, Tim. Love the new video on Authelia. Thank you so much. PC Geek and Mathney, thank you both so much. Man, Mathney, 7-month streak. PC Geek, 9-month streak. Can you believe it's been 9 months already? The music's kind of loud. But yeah, happy Saturday. Hopefully everyone's doing well. I usually start with weather. It is hot. It is hot here in the Midwest. I think it's hot most places in the United States, except for I think the Pacific Northwest. It's a little bit cooler there, and we could use some of that relief. I think it is. My watch says 98 degrees, but I think it was 100 earlier when I was outside mowing the lawn and doing yard work. It was super warm. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh man, are we there already? But it's a warm one across most of the United States. So if you're out, stay hydrated. If you're in, stay cool. And if you have elderly neighbors or something, check on them because they don't do so well in the heat. Just, ask if they're okay. Anyways, hopefully you guys are doing okay. I've been super busy. I know you guys are working on a ton. I would love to know what you're working on. Tell me what you're working on or what I can help with. That's kind of the promise of this stream is that, we get some time to hang out and ask some questions and talk about things you're working on and ideate on stuff and get some feedback and ideas. But yeah, that's kind of how it goes. So if you're new here, yeah, fire away. What have I been working on? You guys saw what I was working on this morning. It's Authelia. Oh man, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. There are some quirks, but for the most part, man, getting auth and two-factor and multi-factor authentication set up with some of your endpoints or services is super easy. Super easy once you get it going. It took me a while to kind of break this one down and think about, how does Authelia work? How do I slipstream it into some of my existing endpoints or some of my services that I have? Just how to get it set up. I don't have it running in Kubernetes yet. That's kind of my next plan is to get it running properly in Kubernetes. Man, my hair is wild. Maybe I'll put on that. But that's kind of my next step is get it running in Kubernetes. Fortunately, I don't have, or maybe unfortunately, I don't have a lot of public services that I expose publicly that need, I should say, auth. This is authorization. Most of my public services that I have, kind of sort of, some of them have API keys, but most don't have user-based authentication. So authn or authz. So, I've been trying to figure out how that works for me. I know a lot of people are excited to get this going in Kubernetes too. Happy to help too, because Authelia provides a Helm chart, lightly documented. I'll say that. I mean, a lot of the properties and keys are there, but I say lightly only because they don't have a ton of examples. They have a lot of documentation on how it works, and obviously the code's open source, so you can look at it and try to figure it out, but not a ton of examples. So it's probably what I'll be working on here and there over the next couple of weeks. So if you're working on that too in Discord, yeah, let me know. Fire away. I think both John and Home Lab News said they were going to collaborate and put something together. That is awesome. That is awesome. I might borrow your work. But yeah, let me know. Let me know how that goes. And with Authelia, there are some quirks too. I might as well name them since I'm on this topic. If the service that you're using already supports built-in authentication, you might get a double sign-in screen. So that's just something to be aware about, and it's not a side effect of Authelia. It's really a side effect of other applications building in authentication to their service as well. And so there's some stuff you can do with headers to forward those headers onto that service, but it's going to be on a case-per-case basis for sure. So anyways, yeah, let me know what you guys are working on. Let me go through a couple of events that fired off right before either I went live or while I went live. Wild card with the K. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. PC Geek and Matheny, thanks again for the subs. Appreciate it. Resubs, both longtime subscribers. I appreciate it. Thanks for the continued support. Tizzy Manic, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. I think there was one earlier. I'll go pickled sausage. That's as far back as I'll go. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. So let's see in the beginning. So who was here first? I know who was here first because I was getting set up. So PC Geek, appreciate it, dude. Thanks for being first. Thanks for the resub. Appreciate it. Yeah, of course. Pickled sausage. How's everyone doing? Yeah, I think I talked about that a little bit. I think everybody's doing generally well. I think I'm speaking for everyone. But we're all doing pretty good. I'll speak for everyone. Good. Matheny says good. All right. PC Geek, calling all the home labbers and announcing the uncontained, I like it, uncontained master of containerization. I wouldn't say that. Have you seen him on YouTube? Wonder why his lights are flashing when you walk by his house? It's Techno Tim. Yeah, it's true. That's true. If you're in my neighborhood or somewhere and you see pink or blue lights, it usually means that it's someone followed or I just forgot to turn the lights off. But they do flash quite a bit. My neighbors, I still don't think they figured it out. I haven't told my neighbors over there yet what I do. So they're probably just like, why does he have pink and blue lights all the time? And why sometimes it's flashing? I'm gonna let this go as long as it can go. I'm gonna wait till they ask. I'm not gonna tell them. Neighbors over there, they know. And neighbors down there, they know too. They probably don't know why the lights flash, but they were like, they openly asked before, like, you must be a gamer or something. Why are the lights always pink or blue in your house? So, but you know it, and it's funny, like as I go for walks around the neighborhood too, I see lots of people with pink or purple or blue lights. So every time I walk down the street, I see purple light or blue light or green light. I'm like, gamer, stoner, gamer. No, I'm kidding. I'm the stoner. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I don't feel as odd. Like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I felt kind of odd. If my lights kicked on and they were pink and I left the house and they stayed pink and I come home and I drive by, I'm like, oh, kind of looks weird. But now it's like it's pretty awesome. You see lots of houses with different colored lights on the inside. So I'm not alone anymore. Chicano, got the COVID vaccine, but I've had COVID before, so I'm hoping that I don't get the pain and other side effects that people mention. Hey man, congrats on getting the vaccine. Yeah. I hope you don't either. I had mild side effects from the vaccine, mostly just brain fog, I think is how it's been summarized. Other than that, low motivation. Like there was like 3-4 days where I was just like, I don't want to do anything. And it was totally related to that because I felt that urge like to do nothing kick in. And it wasn't like, it wasn't just the normal urge to not do anything. But I had brain fog for a while. I would read paragraphs and halfway through I would just be like, I don't want to read that anymore. But it's all good now. So I mentioned this before, but let me know what you guys are working on. Let's talk tech. Let's talk home lab. Let's talk whatever. Because this is the one chance a week that I get to talk about it, and hopefully you guys have more opportunities to talk about it than I do. But this is my one chance to talk about it with someone who understands what I'm talking about. PC Geek, nice. I got the J&J one a few weeks ago. Wasn't too bad. Just a little sore on the injection spot and some minor fever feeling. Yeah, my arm, first one, not so bad. Second one, arm was a little sore. But I had the brain fog both times, but I got over it. It's funny, on the second time when it started kicking in, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. I don't want this to happen anymore. That kind of uneasy feeling, but all good now, nothing. PC Geek, I just scored a deal on another R210 with 32 gigs of RAM, 146, including the shipping cost. Man, that sounds like a super good deal. $146 for a whole entire server. R210 2 with 32 gigs of RAM. Heck of a deal. That sounds like a heck of a deal to me. I'm not familiar with the R210. Is that the 1U server? Is that the one that most people build a network firewall out of? Because it kind of sounds like it. I don't remember the R210. I think that's a 1U. Might be a 1U. Maybe it's 1U. I'm going to keep saying 1U until someone says, yes, it is. But yeah, sounds like a heck of a deal. I might need another 1U here soon for something else I'm working on. The Nick Strick. The Nick Strick, I'm going with that. I do have an extra glare here. I usually blame it on my glasses, so I bumped up the font a little bit. But now I have an extra glare because I have this little light here. Just for fun, I'm just testing some stuff out. So if I extra squint or move my head, that's why. The Nick Strick, setting up an Ansible playbook for my Pi-hole Unbound setup at the moment. Nice. So Ansible playbook. Just set up Pi-hole and Unbound. Sounds fantastic. So you can just repeat that or spin up another Pi-hole server anytime you want, or tear down your infrastructure, tear down your Pi-hole, and build it back up. That sounds fantastic. That sounds awesome. I need some more of that in my life too. I have a handful. Let me put it this way: most of my Ansible playbooks are just maintenance tasks or onboarding tasks. I don't even know if that's a thing, but most of my playbooks are either maintenance or onboarding. And what do I mean by maintenance? Well, it's going to be patches, updates, making sure that things are running that should be running, making sure services are started, and just a whole bunch of health checks and maintenance. Then there's I call it my onboarding. When I build a new server, there's a long list of tasks of things I do that I set on every machine, and those I call my onboarding tasks. And so I usually run those once on new machines when they spin up. What I'm bad at or need to get better at is actually fully spinning up a whole entire machine from nothing, from scratch, and using Ansible that way. That's something that I'm bad at. I use Proxmox, I clone a VM. And then from there, I run my onboarding tasks. But I should automate some of my earlier tasks like that. But I have Pi-hole up and running, Unbound up and running. Unbound was super simple to set up. I was surprised at how easy it was. I put it off for so long, and I saw Craft Computing's video on it, and I was like, okay, it's time to look at it. And I looked at it, and I looked at Pi-hole's documentation. It was super long, and it ended up only taking like 5 minutes. I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? Still a little foggy on what it does for me, but I'm sure you guys know. But I have it up and running on both my Pi-hole servers. Real quick, T Huel, that's what I'm going with. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. How you doing? Welcome. Phantom Way, hey, how's it going? Welcome. Let me grab a drink real quick. I feel like I have sinuses or something. I noticed when I was out doing the lawn, there was just pollen everywhere from all the trees. All the trees released it everywhere. I was just like blowing it around. The wind's blowing. It's all in my face. Now I feel like I'm stuffed up. But I was surprised at how much pollen there was out from the tree pollen, I guess what it is. It's just like yellow stuff everywhere. I was like, woof, this is going straight into my sinuses. Which usually isn't a big deal. I don't have sinus problems. I mean, some people do, but when it's like in my face, then it's can be a problem. PC Geek, the RAM alone is worth about the cost of the server since they run 4 slots of servers since they run only 4 slots, so 8 gig modules of UDIM ECC. Nice. Yeah, I was gonna say. That's almost the price of the cost you paid. It's almost the price of RAM itself, especially now. Super awesome, man. Sounds like a heck of a deal. You got to tell me what you're doing with it. You got to tell me what you're doing. Is it PF7 server or is it something else? Hey, dude, Ilud. 9 months too. Man, dude, thank you so much. Ilud, resub, tier 1, 9 months. Dude, thanks so much. Appreciate all you do, man. How's it going? Lights are working every time I see them. I'm just like, yes, my code is still working. For now. I need better checks. I have health checks in place, but I can't really, well, I could. I can't, yeah, anyways. Note to self, write a health check for a Twitch service. So then I never have to worry about, is it really going to turn on? I usually test it right before I stream. If you're in the channel early, you can see me testing it sometimes because I got to make sure. Grenade proof, man. I like it. Grenade proof. Are you grenade proof? Okay. Anyways, I was gonna make other jokes about military stuff, but anyways, I got my home K3s cluster configured with Flux and Git managed deployments, but I don't know what to run. Nice. I think we run into this a lot. Like I ran into this in the beginning. I built out all this infrastructure, lots of hardware, scaled up, scaled out scaled up each server and then scaled out with multiple servers. Got clustering working with K3S, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to run? For me, fortunately, or unfortunately, however you look at it, I have some services that I run for like apps and stuff like that, small websites, my blog, like those things are easy, low hanging fruit for me because I've had them for so many years. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly where it's going to go in Kubernetes, or in K3S, which Kubernetes. For you, there's, tons of ideas. I think we all have lots of ideas or lots of things that we hold dear in our home lab. Could be anything from logging, monitoring, blogs, websites, game servers, you name it. It does get a little bit challenging when you start to do things that aren't, web-based. And when I say web-based, I mean APIs or anything that uses the HTTP protocol. As soon as you go into TCP and UDP, it gets a little more challenging. Mainly because you have to bring in either a different load balancer, like MetalLB, which you kind of do anyways, or, you have to configure traffic too and figure out how their load balancer works with TCP and UDP. So it gets a little more complicated. And then you got to figure out storage and stuff like that. So if you haven't looked at any of that, I'm not trying to expand your to-do list. But, look at stuff like that, because that's what you'll need in order to then start hosting and exposing some of these services, especially if they're TCP or UDP ports you're going to be exposing. You're going to need some kind of load balancer to expose that properly. MetalLB is a good choice. It's a good choice. I know that Traffic 2 can do it now. To be honest, I haven't explored it. I still use Traffic for only my reverse proxy. Then I use MetalLB to expose IP endpoints. To expose those ports to services. But MetalLB is nice because it figures out which service is requesting those ports and gives it a dedicated IP, which is super nice. If you need ideas, I got tons of them. But I would say look into storage. How are you going to handle your persistent volumes, your anything that any of your containers need to write. If your containers are all stateless, awesome. You don't need storage, but most likely you do. And so when I say storage, I just mean, file system based storage. If it's storage like database storage, that's kind of easy too, because you can choose whether or not you want to host it within Kubernetes. But databases are a little bit easier because you can say, hey, here's your SQL connection string or whatever type of database you're using. Here's your connection string. Go talk to this database for your state or to persist any data. But if you're talking about file-based, that's where it gets a little bit more complicated. Then you got to figure out, going to use Longhorn? Am I going to use NFS? Am I going to use storage on each individual node? So those are good things to figure out too. And once you figure out that, and then what your load balancer looks like and how you expose some of those services outside of the cluster, then you're ready for anything. Then it's anything. Then it's fair game. But grenade proof, man, hopefully it didn't scare you off. Hopefully those are some things either you're thinking about or have already done. If you've already done them, yeah, I would say if you want ideas, linuxserver.io, go there, look at their long list of containers, and they will give you lots of ideas of things to host within your cluster. So yeah. Mathny, hey, nice to see you again, Tim. Hey, good to see you again. Thank you so much for the resub. Appreciate it. Piece of Geek, just came back from first camping trip with the RV too. It was great, had great weather. Yeah, I saw that in Discord, man. Yeah, the maiden voyage with your new RV, your new camper. Looks nice, man. Looks nice. Don't get me wrong. I'm super jelly because I don't know. I think I've always had this like passion for hiking and camping, and I've done a lot of that. But it would be nice to be a little bit closer to trails, to water when I go, hiking or camping, or basically move my house with me in an RV, not my whole house, just a place to rest instead of a hotel. Because, sometimes hotels are hassles. And then, I've done a lot of tent camping and hiking too. And that's super fun. But sometimes, it'd be nice to have an RV and just pull it along with, especially for dogs. We have dogs. So it'd be great to just be able to not worry about hotels and all that stuff with dogs or leaving them at home. That's the main reason why I think it would be awesome. But yeah, Luke, dude, thanks for the Prime sub. Thank you so much. Luke, I'm going Luke, 257, thanks for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. And Row0124, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. But yeah, super jealous of your RV. It looks awesome. It looks like you're having a good time too. I saw some good shots there in Discord. Win 32-0 day. How's it going? Good evening, everyone. Good evening. You're probably in UK. I'm guessing. Pizza Geek, very hot in the Northeast too. Yeah, I saw that. I looked at a weather map earlier. I'm like, man, there is no relief anywhere in the United States except for Pacific Northwest. They're doing okay. I think they're 50s and 60s, which is like my ideal temp. My ideal temp. That's for sure. Definitely not 100, definitely not 90, and pretty far, south of even 80 I like. So 50, 60 for me is great. Open the windows, wear a hoodie if you want, cool in the shade, wear jeans if you want. That's my personal favorite weather. Takano, just waiting. Was nice the past couple of days. Yeah, I think you get later weather. You get our weather. I think you're on the other side of the lakes though. But yeah, you get our weather a day and a half later, kind of, sort of, or anything that moves across the U.S. from, west to east. If it goes that way, most likely it does because jet streams. But yeah, Takano, just waiting for Prime Day. Yeah, that's coming up. I just saw the reminder when I went into Prime Gaming. Another plug for, I guess, Twitch. If you have Amazon Prime, lots of free games. I think Discord. iLude posted one in Discord this morning. I think Battlefield 4 is free now with Prime Gaming today. So that's pretty awesome. And that's where I saw Prime Day's coming. Forget all about it until it's here. I hope it's good. I think a lot of times it goes either way. I think one year I got my lawnmower from it, which actually turned out to be awesome. It's still the one I use today. It's so awesome. I got a half price, but those can go either way. I hope it's good. Hope it's good this year. Let me know what you're looking for Prime Day. Because usually I've noticed on Prime Day, I kind of buy things I wasn't necessarily looking for. And I think that's what they're going for. I mean, that's a win for them. That's a huge conversion if you go and browse any retailer and buy something you didn't plan on buying, even if it's in store in person. They're just like, sweet. That's half the reason why they want you. To get you in the store. But I rarely, like I said, that one time I bought that lawnmower. Other than that, it's always been things that I've discovered while I've been there on the site versus things I was looking for. You might find off brands of things sometimes, and it's rarely electronics, especially this year. This year, I couldn't even imagine. I mean, what's left that miners aren't taking for most people for their systems? Video cards, not happening. RAM, not happening either. Even hard drives now with Chia farming, not happening. So it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to be in the, I don't know, PC building or server building as a hobby right now because everything is getting gobbled up. It's good. It's good to be. It's good because those types of technologies are really pushing the limits of what's possible with a lot of this tech. But at the same time, it makes it a lot harder for us to get. So, yeah. Genorian. I always want to say Genorian. Genorian. It's a warm one today. It certainly is. I keep looking at my watch. It says 98. And it said 99 once. I'm waiting for it to hit 100. Because I think it's really 100. I don't know. It feels like it out. It's definitely warm. Definitely warm here today. Jens 0886. Genzo. I'm going with Genzo. We had good weather in Norway today too. Yeah, good weather. All right. I could use some good weather. I think my AC is like struggling. It gets warm in here too. I mean, we have air conditioning, but you can kind of see that the fan's on. But man, with all these lights along with 100 degrees outside, it gets warm in here. And I had the door shut. So if you see me start sweating, I'm not nervous. It gets warm in here real quick, especially with my PC right there encoding the stream at the same time. Batsy, hey Tim, I'm working on a class project where I mount some Proxmox servers to support an IT institute. Your videos are pretty useful. Nice, thank you. Yeah, thank you. That sounds really awesome. I love Proxmox. It's taking off. I just looked this morning, so I promise this is about Proxmox. But I was looking at my videos, and I try not to pay attention to the numbers. Everyone says don't look at the numbers, but sometimes you look, and I forget, like, videos I made like 6 months ago. I'm like, whoa, that has, I don't know, 10, 20,000 views. That's pretty awesome. I didn't think it was going to have any by now. And, I don't forget about those videos, but every now and then I revisit them. I noticed my Proxmox one has outpaced all of my other videos. And I'm just like, wow, this is not the one that I thought was going to be the most popular. And I think a lot of it has to do with Network Chuck, because, he's got like a gazillion followers. And I think he did something on Proxmox like about a month ago. And now that one is just like skyrocketing. So I'm like, I know it's not the greatest content, but at the same time, I was surprised that one's taking off. Anyways, yeah, kind of related to Proxmox. But anyways, hopefully that video helps. That's the one that I learned a lot on when I made that video, because that video is me kind of documenting what I do each time that I set up a Proxmox server. Right now, it's rare that I set one up. But in the beginning, I was setting one up. I felt like every couple weeks, because either I learned something, I messed something up, or I was going to switch to clustering, or I switched hardware. Now I've settled on a lot of the hardware that I have, so things are really, really stable. I don't want to jinx myself, but things have been super stable with Proxmox. I couldn't be happier. It's open source and it's free. I don't pay anything for it, but man, you get a ton of value from it. I do wish they had first-class Docker support. I get it. They have LXC containers, and you can get Docker installed. But I wish they would have chosen Docker. But I get why they didn't. But yeah, super, super awesome. I can't be happier with Proxmox. Their updates too, they've been revving so much. Like, I'm seeing updates, like, it seems like every third day. I'm just like, whoa, they are really going for it. I love it. And it's interesting to see their update log too, or which components are getting updated. It's super fun. So anyways, I'm glad you found it useful. I love it. I still use it to this day. I have 3 Proxmox servers right now. I'm trying to think about if I need a 4th, and it's not really anything to do with redundancy, more just spreading out a little more load that I have. And really, a lot of it has to do with storage capacity too. I think I underbought. I have 4 1 terabyte SSDs in each of my servers. Well, two of the 3. And they're thin provision, but I'm 75% of the way through those volumes on each Proxmox server. So I almost wish I would have bought 2 terabyte, 4 2 terabyte drives times 2, so 8 when I built those 1U servers. But anyways, I'll figure that out when I get there. I'm kind of scared of what happens when I get a little bit closer to 100%. I know what happens. The VMs stop working. Because I've had that happen on my Intel NUC, which is my 3rd one. My 3rd one's just there for quorum, just in case anything happens, and it has a few critical Kubernetes nodes on there so that I can shut my other servers down and do maintenance or whatever I need to do and have that one still running. And they're on different UPSs. So anyways, I'm a huge fan of Proxmox. As you probably know, it's great. I think we all collectively love it. I have very few bad things to say about it. I don't think I have anything bad to say about it. There are some quirks, but for the most part, it's for the last, besides updates, for the last, I'd say 6 months, it's been set it and forget it. And that's the kind of technology I want in my home lab, or even in an enterprise. Technology you don't have to think about. Just get out of the way technology, and that's what I love. Takano, it's 104 here in Arizona. Pretty cold, yeah. For you, yeah. In the Southwest, that's, you're like 100 degrees, 99. You're probably like, ooh, that sounds nice. Yeah, I bet you guys are used to a lot warmer weather and a lot drier too. So here, when it gets warm, it gets really humid. There, it's just dry all the time, dry and hot, and red and dusty. That's all I think about when I go to the Southwest. I feel like I'm on Mars. I spent some time Sedona and some other places in Arizona, and all over. And every time I leave, I'm just like, okay, I'm tired of seeing red. I've been seeing red for like a week. Let's go somewhere green next. But yeah, I bet you're wishing you had 99 degrees there. PC Geek, I plan to use the new R210 for bare metal TrueNAS. Nice. Will be a nice low power server for disk shelf. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I need some of that in my life. I need exactly that at some point as a low power machine that's only going to run TrueNAS, that's only connected to my disk shelf. Mine's still virtualized. I still have no regrets doing it because it's served me well for a year and a half, 2 years almost. But I think at some point I will be to that point because I can't have NFS go down when I reboot one of my servers. You know, I have the same problem if I reboot my TrueNAS server, my storage array, but that should be rare. It is rare now. The only reason why I ever reboot TrueNAS is one, for an update, but that's planned. And two is when I need to reboot my Proxmox server, which hosts my virtual TrueNAS, which is technically unplanned for TrueNAS, but planned for the host. So I'm kind of there with you, and that's kind of what I was hinting at is another one-use server at some point. And 32 gigs of RAM is perfect for TrueNAS. It's all going to be dedicated to cache, but that's totally fine. Totally fine. Sounds awesome. I need to look into the specs of that too. I'm super concerned about power. I don't need a ton of compute in this thing, as you don't either, and you've probably already looked in it. So I trust your recommendation. I just want to make sure that it's not going to just pull a ton of power, especially for something that's going to be on 24/7, and something right now that I have on shared infrastructure that, you know, the power is basically incremental to run another virtual machine, whereas running a whole another dedicated machine is a little more than that. But anyways, I need to look into this model because I need something super duper low power. I'm a huge fan of Supermicro though too, but yeah, they get kind of pricey, especially new. Let's see, Dimitri Matrix, Dimitri Maximum off Galahad. Woo, that's a tough one. Hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Welcome. How are you doing today? Thank you. Mafni, working on assessing an old rig to see if it's salvageable. Oh, so fun. Most likely the answer is yes. I'm sure you can find something to do with it, but I'm sure you have you know your list of criteria of things that you want to do or do with this machine. I run into that too. Quite a bit. You know, I still have I still have a machine on my workbench that was actually, now that I think about it, I'm like thinking this is an old one. One of the machines on my workbench used to be my network firewall with Untangle, and for a while Smoothwall. It's an Atom-based processor, and it's like a quad-core Atom, but it was perfect for my firewall. This is way back, and still on my workbench, and I'm just like, I need something to do with it, and I don't want to get rid of it. The only thing I do with it now, I found is perfect, is it's my disk wiping station now, because it's an Atom-based processor, totally low power, ITX board. You know, it's the integrated Atom chip on top of a tiny micro ATX board, and something I don't feel bad if I wipe a disk for 3 days straight. So it actually turned out to be perfect. But I know what you mean about making sure things are salvageable. I have a hard time not looking at PCs that are in someone's trash. No joke. We were walking down the alley the other day and I saw a Lenovo desktop outside in the trash in down this alley, and I did peek into it, and I did consider like, could I salvage some of this and do something with it? But I had to, you know, tell myself, no, I can't bring this home. I can't do it. I have too much stuff otherwise. Hopefully you find a job for it. There's always a job for a PC. It's just whether or not you wanna pursue it. Let me grab a drink. Swedish. Built a to-do React app a while ago. Nice, those are the best. Working on implementing authentication with Passport.js and then going to attempt to deploy it on AWS. All right, yeah, congratulations, Swedish. To-do React app sounds super fun. I've done them before. Curious if you're building functional components, I'm sure you are, or class-based components. What'd you use for your global state? Did you use global state? Is it all local state with React local state, or did you use Redux? Passport.js, yeah, I've used Passport.js before. I've used it with Auth0. I think I've used the combination of those two to authenticate. And I've done a lot of hosting of React apps. It's super fun. If you need help or an example, I have one in my GitHub of how to like actually build it in CI and actually deploy it. I deploy it to Kubernetes. Deploying to AWS, while different, the idea is still the same. You still need to be able to, build quote unquote build or transpile your JavaScript into something and then create all your assets and then put those maybe into a container and then ship that container somewhere. If you're going to containerize it, highly recommend it, especially for web apps because it's super easy. And then, put it in some kind of, container that can host files. I usually choose Nginx because it's like 2 lines of code. Put it in there and it'll serve out your bundle, and then you got your web app in the cloud. That's if you're doing client-side JavaScript. If you're doing server-side, it's going to be a node. But yeah, sounds super awesome. Sounds super fun. It's awesome. Congratulations on building your React app. Super. I love React. I'm a huge fan. I write a ton of it, but I still love it. One of the few frameworks, not really a framework, it's a Vue library, but one of the few over the years where I'm just like, I feel like it keeps getting better and I enjoy it. One of the few too that's just like continues to evolve and change itself, where I've just kept up with it and evolved and changed with it too. I've done Angular stuff in the past, and don't get me wrong, like Angular now is awesome, but Angular 1, 2, 3, 4, that was kind of scary. Not scary as in I didn't know what was going on, but scary as in like they totally changed everything, and I get it. It's probably a better product now because they did that, but it just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. It wasn't the slow evolution. It was like, hey, everything you just learned for the last year and a half, forget that because we're doing something else now. Probably better product now and is a great product decision, but not the greatest for developers at the time. Because, at the same time, then React came out and people were like, okay, we're doing React now. So maybe it wasn't a good product decision for them. But I'm sure Google, the Google team built it. So the Angular team knows what they're doing. I promise they do. Abjin, currently playing with Alma Linux to possibly upgrade my CentOS box for the CentOS changes. Nice. I think someone else earlier was talking about Alma. Is this the another enterprise Red Hat Linux? I think that's gaining some traction. Sounds awesome. I don't know much about it other than I think I heard the name earlier today. Let me know. Is it good? Is it better, or is it different? Let me know. PC Geek, could you use Authelia for a specific path and not the entire domain? Say if you wanted to better restrict access to your admin panel for something like WordPress. Yeah, good call. Can you do that? I think you can. Yeah, great question. I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure it's possible. I think absolutely it's possible because in the video, I specify how to protect a whole entire domain. I think you would have to do some magic with routing. I think the answer is going to be on routing. But yeah, that's a good point. And it's funny you say that because I kind of thought of that use case too, but then I was like, well, I use WordPress.com as an OAuth provider and I OAuth to them, and at least that's how I do mine. But maybe you don't want to do that. Note to self, let's figure it out. Let's figure it out tonight. I bet there's a way. There has to be a way to only protect a certain path and just say, hey, only this path. If not, there's got to be a way, especially in the route section, because when you have your different tiers or your different hosts and how they're protected, I wonder if you can do a path. Yeah, good question. We'll figure it out. Figure it out in Discord. It's a great question though. Don't know the answer right now, but we should figure it out. I'm sure it is. Phantom 29. Any insight to using traffic in split brain DNS? Any insight? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'll be completely honest with you. I use traffic in 3 ways. I have 2 versions of traffic hosted in Kubernetes and 1 version of traffic hosted just on Docker using Portainer, just plain old Docker, and then Portainer's my GUI to manage the Docker API. But I get what you're talking about. Split brain DNS, just a way to refer to, DNS internally, the same, and maybe mirror sites that are hosted externally, but they resolve internally. I don't know the answer. The way I usually configure mine, real quick. Arken, dude, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. And then thanks for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Dude, thanks for the sub and the follow. Back to back. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. The way that I configure mine, how do I configure mine? I just have a lot of local DNS entries that point to my reverse proxy through CNAMEs. So I don't have the most sophisticated DNS here internally. A lot of people might think it is sophisticated because I do DNS internally, and a lot of people don't. But mine's not that sophisticated. I create a subdomain that hangs off my main domain called local. And I do it that way. So I separate them that way rather than doing something, I think, split brain. I'm not a huge, I'm not a network engineer. I think that is what you're talking about. But tell me more. Tell me more. Rather than asking for insight, tell me what the problem is you're trying to solve. I think that might help. Brian Weber or Weber. Hello, how's it going? I know another Brian Weber or Weber. But I know you're not him. But hey, how's it going? Niels, B95, hello. I'm from the Netherlands. Hey, awesome. Welcome. I like your YouTube content, so I'm checking out your streams as well. Hey, thanks. It's working. So yeah, thanks for checking out my content. I'm so curious how people from the Netherlands find me. Is it the tech I talk about, or just a lot of people from the Netherlands? It's awesome. It's awesome. I never thought that I would ever reach anyone, for one, and then two, anyone outside the United States. But a lot of people from the Netherlands. Well, hello, thank you, and welcome. Mr. Technician. Hey, Tim, I just got my Pi-hole up again. Dual node this time. Nice. I really want to switch my TrueNAS server to Proxmox and virtualize TrueNAS. Hey, just what I was talking about. Yeah, I'd say go for it. Go for it. So pros and cons, I'll tell you pros and cons real quick. I talked about them a little bit. Pros, less energy because you're not going to have another machine that's running 24/7. Another pro, less cost. You're going to use shared infrastructure because it's virtualized and you can allocate some RAM to it and CPU to it and cores to it. Other pros, you can take snapshots back up. Well, yeah, depends. That's part of the con too. But ideally, if you use a different storage, you can take snapshots, backups, and do all the normal things you can with VMs. Some of the cons, though, are a little bit of what I talked about. Cons, backups. It's hard to do backups if your NFS storage is actually provided by TrueNAS. And I do this probably every 4 months. I'm like, yep, take a snapshot of my TrueNAS server. And I'm like, nothing is working. What's going on? What did I just do? And so, what actually happens, and I have to kick myself every time I do this, is I'm trying to back up my TrueNAS to the NFS storage provided to Proxmox from TrueNAS. And I end up in this crazy loop that I just have to force quit TrueNAS because it's trying to take a snapshot and backing up to itself while it's offline. Anyways, that's one of the cons. Other ones are ones that I talked about earlier. I would like for my storage server to be the most stable thing in my environment. I mean, it almost needs to be because a lot of things depend on it. And the same goes with uptime too, right? A lot of my services depend on it. So storage always needs to be up over the network. Network storage has got to be up for Kubernetes, for my Windows file shares, like everything. My documents are redirected there, you name it. So, that kind of needs to be up all the time. And there are times when I need to patch my virtualization host. And that doesn't play well with TrueNAS or anything that's hosted there. And so now, my TrueNAS is paying the cost of being a virtual guest. It needs to shut down maybe once a month to actually because the host needs to reboot. And then one other small con, it's only a con for me. I have 1U servers, and so I have to dedicate one entire PCI Express slot, the only one I get on my 1U servers, to my adapter to connect to my disk shelf. That might not matter to you because, you might not have a disk shelf. It does matter to me because that's the only one I have. And so someday I would like to, maybe, we'll see. I keep convincing myself to do it, and then I keep talking myself out of it. Maybe one day I might move it to physical, but we'll see. So real quick, pros and cons. I would say go for it though. I would say go for it until it doesn't work for you anymore. Unless one of those pros or cons I said for you are non-starter or non-negotiable. I would say go for it. I would say go for it and do it till it doesn't work anymore. It's kind of my motto. you know, just like it was awesome till it wasn't anymore. That's where I am. I'm still on the it's awesome phase for TrueNAS. But again, with that comes some trade-offs. JWK, that's where I'm going. Hi from the Netherlands, another one. All right, thank you. Hey from the US, how's it going? Home Lab Noob. Oh, I thought this was going to be Home Lab Noob. Home Lab Noob. Hey, Tim, found you on YouTube. Thanks for your content. Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Pizza Geek. Yeah, it is a 1U. All right. I guess that one right. Takano, 12K channel points. Let's go. Oh, man. I keep talking up this 10K point redemption someday. I hope I can meet or exceed your expectations when you spend the 10K points this time. So thanks for earning them. Thanks for being here. Win32 0 day. I just finished my internship about IoT with MuleSoft and Cumulosity. I know MuleSoft. I don't know Cumulosity. But congratulations on your internship about IoT. Yeah, that sounds awesome. What an exciting field to be into. PC Geek. I got an R210. R210 2. That's a lot of twos. Already and loaded for PFSense. Will be a drop-in replacement for a firewall router that I have right now. Nice, dude. Nice, man. That's kind of what I was thinking that a lot of people do. They use that one, I think, for a PFSense box, which sounds fantastic. PC Geek, tear down your pie hole. That's what he said. Oh gosh, here we go. The twists. Swedish. My friend's work was having a free night at their warehouse and give away a bunch of old stuff. Got an HP ProLiant server with 8 terabytes of storage and an extra 9 terabytes of desktop hardware for free. Nice, dude, nice. Where's this place at? Let me know next time. I could use some more disks for sure. Disks are the one things that I feel like I'm getting short on. Storage in general. I think I felt like I overbought, but now I might have underbought. But it's, yeah, I planned my storage for, I thought 2-3 years, and I'm getting kind of semi-close on year 1.5. So I definitely didn't plan it out, but it's hard to project those kinds of things, especially with creating content. Takano, I've been wanting to upgrade the server. Parts are so expensive. Yeah, they are. So I have 16 gigs of RAM on it. I'm maxing out 90% of the usage most of the time. But it's DDR3 RAM, and the CPU I'm using has 16 gigs of RAM limit either way. So it would mean a new MOBO. I'm glad you say MOBO. CPU and RAM. Yeah, I know what you mean. When you start maxing out stuff, yeah, it's no longer an upgrade. It becomes like a rebuild, or a build new. There are very few things I shouldn't say very few, but a handful of things that I guess you can upgrade before it's like, okay, new motherboard. And those things that force you to build something new are just like, oh, yeah, especially 16 gigs of RAM. That's tough. So you probably have 2 slots, or either that you have 4. But a max of 16, yeah, that's gotta be tough. Kind of low, but depending on what you're running, could be good enough. Hope you figured it out, man. Brian Weber. I also bought a used Dell Optiplex. Nice. Yeah, another popular one. Running Proxmox on it and loving it. After that, I ended up building TrueNAS server. The home lab bug has hit me. Yeah, it's hit me too. It's never gone away from me. It's never gone away. It's hit me a while ago, a long time ago, I would say. I probably been self-hosting stuff for, I don't know, 18. Yeah, it's 18. Let me do the math, because math is hard. I would say about 15 years. I've had something running in my house 24/7, roughly. They started out as old desktop PCs, and it's never ended for me. So hopefully you find enjoyment in it, because it's super fun. Bill Nash, sup nerds? What's going on, Bill Nash? How's it going? Takano, motherboard only has 2 DDR3 slots. All right, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough when it only has 2 slots. I've also been looking at YubiKey, the one with USB and NFC support as well. Awesome. Yeah, YubiKeys look awesome to me. I wish they weren't so expensive. I'm sure the cost will go down. But yeah, they do look fantastic. I would love to have something like that for my second factor instead of always having to dig out Authy all the time. Not that Authy's that hard, but at the same time, if I don't have to do that and I keep something plugged in or tap something, that's even easier. But you know, is security supposed to be easy? Maybe, maybe not. But YubiKey sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. Banana, yeah, it's working. Better late than never. Yeah. Oh, sorry, that's on the resub. PC Geek, I saw the test. Yeah, it's working. My bot's up. So if you're curious about this banana command, it's something a long time ago that Techno was testing my bot. It never responded with anything, and now it's responds with the banana emoji. And because of that, that's the test. That's how I test my bot usually right before I go live is run the banana command. Do I see a banana? Okay, it's working. JNG GOBC. Hi, I'm a newbie to Rancher and Kubernetes. And hey, I am too. I wouldn't say total newbie, but hey, it's it's evolving. It's newer. It's supposedly making Kubernetes a little bit easier. But hey, there are parts of Kubernetes that are, unknown or foreign to me too. So I don't know it all. Hopefully I don't portray that, and I don't pretend to know it all. It's complicated. It's super complicated. There are things I struggle with. I write most of the stuff down that I do, so I can just look at that for the next time. And so a lot of times I have to refer to notes all the time. I'm not gonna lie. I have lots of notes on this stuff, so I can repeat it and remember what to do for next time, or explain something to someone, or give someone an example. But it's tough. It's tough stuff. Intellectual play space. Any experience with WAFs? Looking to host my web app on Kubernetes in my lab. Yeah, not really. I'm trying to think. Like the only time I've used a web application firewall was when one was built in to Sophos. So I used Sophos XG firewall for a while. That was my network firewall for my home for a while. Because I used to switch back and forth between a lot of them. Sophos I ran for a long time because it actually had a WAF, a web application firewall. I assume that's what you're meaning. And it also had reverse proxies built into it and had a lot of cool things. And you can terminate your SSL there, which was good for a while until it wasn't anymore. But that was kind of the promise that I saw. I purchased wildcard certificates. I would terminate SSL there. Then it could decrypt that communication, then run it through the web application firewall, reject anything that was bad. Like you would see all kinds of bad stuff. People like trying to post and stuff or trying to brute force, log in, or send packets to maybe your blog or WordPress, and it would reject them. So it worked great until it didn't anymore, until I was like, well, I'm not going to pay for wildcard certificates. I'm going to use Let's Encrypt. And then I moved that whole entire stack further back in the stack instead of running it on the edge. Now, that stuff runs on Traffic or Nginx Proxy Manager, runs basically on your reverse proxy now. So that's really my only experience with it. It was great while it worked. I haven't used any other ones since then. Is it a good idea? Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything you can do to protect yourself, especially if it has a long list of rules of known bad stuff or signatures or especially if it can do heuristics and detect things and not just a static list of rules. But if it has heuristics and even a static list of rules that are updated and it can reject those things and stop those things from happening, absolutely. Let me know what you're using because I would like to know too. But yeah, absolutely. I don't have a ton of experience with it in Kubernetes. I would love me some of that. So let me know. Let me know. Intellectual play space. Ninja Alice, Ninja Lacey. There we go. Hi, how's it going? Also, have you experiences with GPU-enabled Kubernetes nodes? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have a video on it. Yeah, I've done it before. Yes. So yeah, I've done it before. I ran some Python stuff on one of my nodes. So Rancher has support for it. So let me back up. So plain old Kubernetes has support for it. There's, I think, an operator that NVIDIA has released. And then Rancher has support for it too. So I've done it in both, and I've done it in Docker, and I've even done it in virtual machines. So I've done it, in containers, normal Docker containers. I've done it in Kubernetes containers with both just plain old Kubernetes and Rancher Kubernetes. And then I've done it in virtual machines. So yeah, absolutely. I've done it before. I have a tutorial on it too, if you're interested on how to do it in Kubernetes. Or even I think plain old Docker I cover in there too. So yeah, it's super fun. It's super fun. And I think I was running Plex for a while too that way. Which is cool because then you can share that GPU with lots of containers. I think you're still limited to how many streams, like NVIDIA has something in place where it's like, hey, only so many streams can go through this whatever they have, this interface. I don't fully understand it. That limitation's still in place, but the nice part is that you can have multiple containers still communicating with your NVIDIA video card. Whereas on a virtual machine, I mean, the alternative is install everything on that virtual machine, and let the virtual machine handle it. Whereas in Kubernetes, you can have all of your workloads on one node that has that virtual machine and let Kubernetes handle it. It's pretty fun stuff. So you're probably gonna then get into affinity and taints and marking that node as having GPU or GPU enabled, and then attracting, any container that says, hey, I need a GPU to that node. Unless you have lots of nodes with GPUs or GPUs on every node. Doubt that. Maybe you do. But yeah, totally doable. NVIDIA has a lot of stuff on it. I have something on it too if you're interested, but NVIDIA's done a ton of this too. Splinta 87. I like Splinta. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Captain Tidbit. Hey. Hi-yo. How's it going? Bill Nash. Haha. I'm watching the stream over Starlink in my RV, a couple 100 miles from home and a mile from the beach. Dude, the dream is real. Nice, dude. Over Starlink. So I'm going out to outer space and back. Dude, thanks, man. Well, Twitch is, but me too. Appreciate it, man. How's it going? Bill Nash, dude, thanks. Speaking of Bill Nash, dude, thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. How's Starlink? Sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. I need some of that in my life too if I ever travel, or maybe for a backup, or to have a failover with Starlink here. That would be awesome. Because I do a lot of stuff on the internet. So yeah, it would be cool to have a backup. Luke, felt like subbing? It was the least I can do, so good to finally catch a live stream. Your vids helped me out so much. Thanks a lot. Dude, Luke, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, and thanks for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Thank you. PC Geek, yeah, RV toilets. That is an experience in itself. LOL. Yeah, you have firsthand knowledge. It's just another system, but the memory leaks are worse. Oh, here we go. Billy Quizboy, good seeing you stream again. Yeah, how's it going? Haven't seen that name in a long time. By the way, I watched a few of your videos on Authelia this week already. So imagine my surprise when you posted your video. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think it's fun. Took me a while to get it out, not only because the topic itself, setting up the environment is kind of hard, at least for me, because I kind of have to do it in the second environment, but I do it for real, and it's still here. So it's kind of tough to set up this stuff sometimes. Anyways, I'm glad you found stuff on this topic, and I'm glad you found my stuff on that topic too. I think it's super fun. It's going to continue to evolve. I know I mentioned that OpenID Connect is supported. It is. They say it's an alpha, but they're continuing to go down that route. So it's shaping up quite nicely, and it's pretty lightweight and easy to set up. If you have some example configurations like the ones I provide in my video today, super easy. Copy, paste, apply, change, create. 4, however many DNS entries you need. Make some adjustments to traffic. Two lines of code, and boom, you got it. So it's super fun. I'm need to do some more exploring, especially with protecting certain paths and endpoints like PC Geek mentioned. because I totally understand the use case. It's the /WP admin on WordPress. You know, put 2FA on that guy only, but leave the rest public. Sounds awesome. Jan Gobsey, could I ask for a quick question? I set up OpenVPN as a Docker successfully. However, I do not yet understand the networking part of Rancher. How do I create bridge mode on Rancher for the OpenVPN as node? How do I create bridge mode? So a couple things. I think in Rancher you're going to have to expand the advanced section of Rancher. So if you're doing this to the UI, I think there's an advanced section, and in the advanced section you'll actually have some more networking options. I think if you're going to be running OpenVPN, I haven't done this in Kubernetes, Rancher or Kubernetes, but I think you're going to have to give it access to the host that it's running on. I could be wrong. I haven't looked at it. But hopefully, so a couple of things. One, I would look to see if OpenVPN is supported in Kubernetes. I'm sure it probably is. They might have some documentation and maybe some hints on how to do it. They're going to tell you how to do it the Kubernetes way. And then you'll just have to look to see what they say to enable. There might be additional advanced options. And then you're going to have to dig in the Rancher UI on that workload where you actually create it. Probably expand the advanced section. It says advanced, lower right somewhere. You expand that and you'll get a whole bunch of options. And in there, you'll just want to match those up. Yeah, and I've had to do that for a few things. It's rare now, though. But for networking, that one's tough, especially with like a VPN. You know, some of the times it needs more features than just normal, typical workloads and Kubernetes needs. So yeah. Wolf Norik, hey, how's it going, man? Long time no see. How you doing, man? How's it going? Dude, I still see you on Twitter, man. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully everything's going good. I haven't seen your name. Well, I see your name on Twitter, but I haven't seen your name in here since I think I was doing gaming streaming, man. Hopefully you're doing well. I wonder if you're still streaming. Good to see you, dude. Still here in the Twin Cities, man? Hopefully you're well. Mr. Technician, yep, it's on its way to hot Twin Cities right now. I think another Twin Cities person. Yeah, hey, how's it going, Mr. Technician? It's way hot here. Is it 100 yet? Oh, 99. 99, we're almost there. I don't know why I'm getting so excited about this, as if I've never seen 100 degrees here. Because it does get hot in Minnesota. Contrary to popular belief, it is not all snow here. It gets really hot and really humid. There's a lot of water and a lot of lakes here. So it gets real warm. Piece of Geek, I backed the 22-foot RV trailer perfectly the first time on both the campsite and two when we returned home. Yeah, that's super tough, man. I've backed up trailers before. It's always the opposite of what you think. You cut the wheel one way, it's going one way. You cut it the other way, and you're just doing this whole crazy mess. My brother, he has lots of different trailers for his business, and he can do the same thing as you. Just back in, like eyes closed, just perfect every time. Me, not so much. I'm like jackknifing the whole trailer, and I don't even know what's going on. But yeah, awesome, man. Bloodpack, hey, how's it going? Piece of Geek, monster of all heater. The 3090 pushing the BTUs, yeah. 3090, yeah, it does get hot. Hopefully it stays kind of cool during the stream. I did push it to its limits again. So the only time, so how do I know that I'm actually drawing a ton of power without monitoring it? It's because I have a UPS down there, and the UPS, I think it's a 650 or something like that. And a few times when I did some machine learning, the alarm goes off, and I know I'm drawing like way too much power. Sometimes I have my headphones in and my dog starts barking. I'm like, why is the dog barking? I'm like, oh, because the alarm's going off for my UPS. The only other time that's ever happened was just this week. I installed WoW just for fun, just to see what it looked like. And I turned on max settings, max everything, ray tracing, everything. And as soon as I transported into Azeroth, I was just like, heard the alarm going off. I'm like, whoa, I didn't know they had all of this going on. But anyways, I don't play the game, but every now and then I just install it to kind of look around. I still have some friends who play, and I'm like totally jealous that they have time to play it and stuff like that. And anyways, I always check up on the game. Anyways, especially with the Burning Crusade launch, I think was a couple of days ago on Classic. I was like, ooh, this it's not going to pull me in. Lich King might, but Burning Crusade, that's right around when I started, way back in the day. But yeah, anyways, yeah, 3090, it's still there, it's still kicking. It crunched out that video last night, so I rendered today's video last night, and that's something like the video would have taken on my old card. Most of it I was doing on CPU anyways. Would have taken 40 minutes, I think, especially for that one. That one's a longer, and then I had lots of transitions, lots of effects, even though it doesn't look like it. Like all of those little effects that I have in there, even the picture-on-a-picture stuff with the drop shadow, just takes a lot of time to process. 3090, I think it was 12 minutes. Just like, 30% savings, or 60% savings, 66%. Savings every time I render a video, so it doesn't justify the cost, but man, it is great when it kicks in. It makes some noises too. It's it makes some scary noises I've never heard before on my video card. In general, just a lot of digital noise. It's hard to explain, but yeah, awesome. Let's see. Ice Wolf, there we go. Lots of X's in there. Thanks, haha. How's it going? Ice Wolf. Oh, I said I missed you. I'm glad you said something else. I missed another one. And your videos, by the way, are very good. Thanks. JNG-OBC. That's what I'm going. Jing-OBC? I wish I could pronounce that, but I can't. Thank you. Appreciate it. Ice Wolf, I'm setting up a new VPN gateway in my rack. First time I've done much networking. Hey, me too. It's funny you mentioned that. A few people have mentioned VPN. I was just thinking this. So earlier this week, or it was yesterday actually, but then last week too, I went into the office just to work from work one day. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't set up my VPN to get back home again because I've always been changing. But I was like, I haven't had to think about this for a long time. So everybody mentioning VPN, I wonder if it's because people are traveling again, going back into work, and trying to figure out how they get back home to their VPN. I mean, some people might have had VPN set up already. I have, but over the last 6 months, I changed my whole entire infrastructure. And I was just like, yeah, I'll figure out VPN when I need it. Well, I think I kind of need it too, so I need to set mine back up. Anyways, it can be, it depends on what VPN you're using. Can be simple, can be difficult, but it's one of those things you want to get right, and one of those things you want to keep, a secret if you're using certificate-based or if you're using SSL or anything or key-based. You want to keep those things secret. So, but after that, pretty awesome and pretty secure. Thanks, haha. Batsy, I gotta go. Bye, everyone. See you, Batsy. Pizza Geek, if you run into issues and just want to pick our brains, yeah, check out Discord. I totally agree. Thank you. And I would love to hear what you guys are using for VPN. I know there's WireGuard, there's OpenVPN. Those seem to be the two big ones. I would love to know what you guys are using and hear some of your challenges too, because I need to set something back up again, just mentioning it. Still on the fence. Unify has an okay one. It's L2TP. I forget which protocol it is. It's kind of older. It's okay, but it's, older, slower. I guess, it's been around for a while and it's tried and true and battle tested, but I kind of want some newness. Smorgano. That's so hard to say. I'm going with Smorg. Hey Tim, XEP NG is a great project too. Yeah, I hear lots about it. Yeah, Tom Lawrence is all about it. I watch his videos, and I think there have been a few people in our Discord community too that they either used to use it or still use it. Huge fan. Just don't have the hardware to run another hypervisor, but would love to. Salvarius, wait, there's a Discord server. Yeah, there's a Discord server. Get out of here with that. Yeah. I know you're trolling. Pizza Geek, I've heard that. I've tried a little with VirtualBox, but just got through the initial setup. Yeah, it's awesome. I haven't looked in a while. The one thing that kept me from using it, I'll say it, because I almost use XCP NG. I almost used that instead of Proxmox in the beginning. But then I saw in their documentation they didn't support GPU pass-through. I'm sure that's changed by now. I need to look into this and do some fact checking, especially with the changes that NVIDIA made, and I'm sure XCP-NG wants to do GPU pass-through for NVIDIA. I need to look at their documentation again and see if they've updated that, because yeah, it sounds super interesting. Brian Weber, it's amazing how fast LXC containers are. I use LXC containers for Nextcloud and Nginx reverse proxy. I totally agree, 100% agree. Like containerization in general is super blazing fast because you don't have to boot up a whole entire OS. You just kickstart the executable and its dependencies, and you're up in 2 seconds, 1 second, depending on what it is. I love containers for that reason. Many reasons why I love containers. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. LXC is fantastic. I think it's what Docker is even based on. For sure. I'm right there with you, man. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. Oh, it's not this mic. Usually on my Zoom mic, I'm just like, I gotta make sure I don't hit that too hard, but it's this mic right now. Abdurham F. Hello there. How's it going? Smorg. I'm going with Smorg. I use XCPNG in my lab, installed a year ago. Very happy, really stable. Heck yeah. Luke, how are your experiences with Nginx so far? I've been wanting to set up reverse proxy myself, but based on recommendations from forums, I've been learning traffic. I can answer that one too. So I've done a lot of Nginx. I still do a lot of Nginx for reverse proxy. It's totally fine. If you want to manage a lot of conf files and manage a lot of the configuration yourself, yeah, it's totally fine. A lot of the products like Nginx Proxy Manager, Traffic, they give you a lot for free. And so they give you a lot for free, and they built a lot on top of technologies like Nginx, or they built their own in Go or whatever, to give you those features with minimal configuration. Maybe a couple flags, or maybe more flags, or maybe they've not included some of those features, but include them as middleware, so they're optional. It's going to be up to you. Like Nginx is fantastic. I mean, it's used by thousands and thousands of companies. A lot of sites and services are still served out by Nginx. It's fantastic. It just boils down to, what do you want to learn about and how do you want to manage it? Do you want to learn about the ins and outs of Nginx and Nginx configs and how to set up, reverse proxies and specifying all your headers and certificates and if you look at all the directives, there's a lot of directives there and a lot of things you need to get right. But yeah, it's totally great. I still containerize, like I was talking about earlier. My React apps are usually hosted within an Nginx container because it's super easy, super simple for something very basic like that, serving out static HTML and JavaScript and CSS files. Fantastic. I mean, it's even fantastic at doing more complicated things like a reverse proxy or even a load balancer. You could use it as a load balancer as well. Very versatile, great product. Just because I choose traffic for my home lab stuff does not mean that it's a lesser product. It's a fantastic product. Nginx by itself is great. It's great. So anyways, I'm a huge fan of Nginx. I still use it for a lot of my stuff. PC Geek, LXC is great for small workloads. You can run with your own IP address. Yeah, like Pi-hole. Totally agree. Totally, and like it works. Manual configs though, if you want a GUI for easy setup, Nginx Proxy Manager for Docker. Yeah, a lot of fans of Nginx Proxy Manager too, for sure. They built on top of Nginx and built a great GUI to manage this stuff for you. Again, great product, and at its core is still Nginx. Droid our lover. Droid, ooh, that's a tough read for me to read. What's up, Techno Tim? My tech project that I'm working on is getting my firewalls over a new Firepower Management Center. What is Firepower Management Center? This sounds awesome. Firepower Management Center? I don't know what that is, but it sounds fantastic. So you're working on getting firewalls over to the Firepower Management Center. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds awesome. I'm sure it's a marketing name for centralized management for firewalls, guessing. But I love it. Firepower, yeah. If you have Firepower in the name, sounds like a good product. I hope it goes well. Thank you for sharing. Let me know if it's if you have any questions or you want to elaborate more on what it is. Luke, thanks for your feedback. I'm fine with manual configs. I just heard some stuff about stability, speed, where traffic excels, but I can't confirm. I guess since Nginx is easier to set up, I'll give it a try. Yeah, you can't go wrong. You will be managing different config. I'll put it that way. But it'll be a lot of industry standard config, and it's going to be a lot of config that carries over. Like it looks very familiar. to Apache stuff too. Their directives are very familiar. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong because yeah, it's a good skill to learn. It won't be time wasted. That's for sure. The only issue with the R2102 that I really have is there are only two 1 gigabit Ethernet ports. One PCI Express slot would be taken by the HBA. Yeah, good call. Good call there, because I think you nailed it on I guess maybe one of the cons of those devices. That if I'm going to do a similar thing with a disk shelf, especially if I'm going to build a dedicated server for it, got to get 10 gig on my NAS for sure. Because otherwise I'm not going to move unless I need that PCI Express slot for something. But yeah, good call. For what I need though, I don't really need 10 gig networking right now. Yeah, I don't either. But I could in the future, especially if I want to do some iSCSI stuff and some shared storage. I'm right there with you. I don't need it. Every now and then, like last night, transferring all of my files. I had 50 gigs of video files that I was done with that I was putting on my NAS. Took 3-4 minutes. Would I want that to take 10 seconds? Sure. This is not even napkin math. This is me making it up, but just kind of illustrating, some of the time savings I would have with 10 gig. Other than that, I don't have a use for it right now. I want a use for it, but I don't have one other than the seldom, once a week, once every 2 weeks, transferring, a huge video file that I'm working on here back to my NAS. I mean, it might give me a little more room to actually edit files remotely, which sounds awesome. But even I hear about people still creating proxies and creating things locally on their machine, because sometimes even 10 gig networking, just, you get increased latency when you're editing videos. Anyways, this is all video editing stuff that you may not be familiar with. But I would love to be able to, edit these videos off of my NAS directly instead of editing them here and then transferring them there later. And I think 10 gig might be able to help me with that. At least according to other YouTubers I've seen. I've seen the video where they set it up, but I've never seen them revisit it. So, I want to ask folks if they still do that. For what I can just lag those two NIC ports. Yeah, it's exactly what I do right now. And the other side benefit of having mine virtualized is that TrueNAS has a virtual 10 gig NIC. So every virtual machine that's on that same virtual host technically has a 10 gig NIC, virtual NIC that it can transfer stuff to. It's only when things have to go out of that host and back into the other host that then they have to use, physical networking, which then mine's lag too. Bill Nash, power machines are now your RV Plex media servers. Low power machines. Yeah, mine's running OpenSense for multi-gateway failover, Starlink, Wi-Fi bridge, or cellular phone, plus Plex server. Yeah, I keep poking PC Geek on this about his mobile home lab and how he needs to build it. I've been vicariously living through him for a while with his RV purchase, and super jelly of it still. And I keep asking him about the mobile home lab. Zoid25, I use VMware at work and it's been pretty good, but a lot of potential overhead for home lab. Proxmox works super well at home and even has a Terraform provider. I'm hoping that in a year or so, with more development, that Harvester will be a good option for HCI at home too. Yeah, I totally agree. I like the idea of Harvester. I just don't think it's there yet. I too want hyperconverged infrastructure and just have it all run like bare metal and just give me like tons of bare metal nodes. And okay, you want containers, you want VMs, go for it. I totally agree. I think that's the future, is having something, hyperconverged. HCI, I think that's what the acronym means. Because then it's, I remove a lot of layers from my infrastructure. I have my hypervisor, which runs a virtual machine, and then on that virtual machine, it runs, a container service, which spins up containers in that stack. And so removing the virtualization stack would allow me in a hyperconverged scenario to put those containers right on bare metal alongside of my virtual machines that are also running bare metal. It sounds super awesome. think Metal as a Service kind of does this with virtual machines, and I know Red Hat has some products out there too. But Harvester is interesting because they're actually containerizing the OS too, which sounds interesting. I think they're containerizing virtual machines. It's totally flip-flopping everything around. But yeah, sounds awesome. I hope they continue to push it. I don't know what, just Rancher in general. I don't know what its future is going to be after SUSE bought them, or SUSE. I'm sure it's good. Hopefully they continue to drive Harvester because it sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. I want me some of that. ISO. Proxmox is pretty rock solid. A while back, I had a CPU that went bad and caused a couple of reboots per hour for a whole week. After some troubleshooting, I migrated the VMs and containers to a fresh install and some hardware, and it continued working like nothing had happened. Didn't notice any corruption. That is awesome. That had to be a hard one to track down too. CPU and RAM issues for me are like the hardest thing to track down, or motherboard, like weird motherboard things where you're like, you never really figure out what it was. But man, good job on figuring that out and migrating those machines off and getting them up and running again and narrowing it down to your CPU. Because that one, like I said, that one's tough for me to figure out. It's usually the last thing I think about. First thing is usually hard drives. Last thing is usually CPU or RAM. And it takes time to figure those out, especially CPU. That one's going to be tough, unless it's like rebooting. But then you're like, okay, is it overheating? And then you kind of got to catch it in the act, and it's not overheating. And okay, what could it be? Those are tough. When you got to disassemble, blow stuff out, clean stuff up, reassemble. Tough one to track down. But ISO, dude, glad you figured it out. Scars 525, good summertime treat. LOL, love that ad. Good summertime treat. Oh, I don't get the reference. Let me know. Techno, thinking of switching to OpenSense. A lot of people have. Yeah, a lot of people have. Or they go back and forth. Or a lot of people ask me the differences. And I've run OpenSense for a while too. It was pretty cool. An orange and black theme, like Proxmox. But I don't remember why I switched off of it. There are some products I use where I can definitely remember and say that's why I left it. There's some where I don't, which was OpenSense, and I don't remember why I ended up using something else. But yeah, it's a great product, just like pfSense. Climax 708, working on starting up, and issue of patents got brought up. What are your thoughts on software patents? This one's, I don't know. That one's tough. It's tough. It's just like kind of any patents in general and property or intellectual property. It's a tough space. If you create something that's new and unique and you patent it, and I don't know. I don't have a lot of opinions on it. I'm sure if I was a software maker and made stuff and I patented it, and some people, air quotes, stole that intellectual property or created something that was exactly the same or whatever, I'm sure I'd have a different opinion. I don't have that opinion though, because I'm on the other side where I consume a lot of this stuff that's open source and fork it and build my own or create my own or release my stuff, that's open source. But my stuff, isn't for profit, and so, I'm not creating something that's, going to give me some competitive edge to then, make a profit on to sustain a company or build a company or sustain my family. So, I don't have any opinions, cause it's a tough space. It's a tough space. I don't, I middle of the row. I guess I can see, both sides of, I guess, the argument on patenting software, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say like everything should be open source and open, because then, I don't know. That's easy to say from the outside looking in, but then what about, people, I figured out how to make a business out of open source. So I'm not arguing whether or not like everything should be open or not. I guess I don't have an opinion on software patents because I've never had to do it myself. There we go. PC Geek, my internal DNS is a Windows DNS server. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is, man. Billy Quizboy, have you done a video on setting up your own DNS server? That would be a good one. I'd watch. I did. It's Pi-hole. So I use Pi-hole for my local DNS. And so, yeah, I do, not setting up Power DNS or Windows DNS server. I hear a lot about Power DNS too. Haven't had a need. Like once I brought in Pi-hole for for ad blocking and everything else that it has, it also provides local DNS, so A records and C names as well. And so I just leaned into that and used that. It would be nice if I had maybe something a little more robust sometimes, but for the most part, it's done everything I've wanted it to do and then some. So I don't have to have two products running. Hey, HomeLab New, dude, how's it going, man? Dude, HomeLab New, tier 1, 10 months, 6 months streak. Dude, thank you so much. Hey, Tim, thanks for doing some zero trust work. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I figured you'd enjoy that one. But yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions. I think you and John were talking about maybe creating a sharing config for your Helm chart for Kubernetes. So once you guys get there, let me know. Hook me up. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Arken, NW. Wow, I don't know the acronym. No, I'm just going on. Loving the HomeLab stuff. Have you explored managing Proxmox CTS and VMs with Terraform? I'm aiming to have Proxmox managed via GitLab stuff and deploying a Terraform runner. Anything you've ever looked into? No, these are the things that I think are really awesome. I've done very minimal stuff with Terraform. I did it, I think it was actually at this conference that I'm wearing. This is the old Microsoft Build conference from I don't know, 6-7 years ago. And that was probably the only time it was probably it would have to have been after that, that I've looked at Terraform and I get it. Infrastructure is code and probably, I don't remember if it's YAML or not, but deploying infrastructure and keeping it source controlled, using something like Terraform. I totally understand it. I just haven't had to do it for my job or in my personal spare time. I would love to. It sounds super awesome. Just haven't had the opportunity. So yeah, I haven't looked into it. Maybe I should. Dude, HomeLab New. Dude, thank you so much, man. HomeLab New gifted tier 5, tier 1. I don't know why I can never remember that or read that correctly. Dude, thanks for the gifted subs. Dude, 5 tier 1 gifted subs. Dude, thanks a lot. I probably said dude like 10 times right there, but that's when you know it's genuine. When I can't figure out anything else to say but dude. But thanks, man. Appreciate it. So Zoe25, brown coat, that's what I'm going with. Bottled up jam, Shruga. Taniwa, enjoy your gifted sub from HomeLab New. Appreciate it. Dude, thanks so much. Appreciate it, man. Jen O'Ryan, DNS is your best friend or your worst enemy at the same time? Yeah, it's always DNS. I totally agree. It can be, it's great when it works. And it's great when it works the way you tell it to. I'll say it that way. But it's also bad when it works the way you tell it to, because every now and then I have an old DNS entry that's pointing to an IP address, and it's usually my fault, or I point it to the wrong IP address, and it ends up being a DNS problem, but it's me because I created the entry that's pointing to the wrong place, or I just get confused and mixed up. Like I do that a lot with my reverse proxy. I have to take a 10-second mental break and think, where is this IP pointing to? No, I'm not going to point it to the host. I'm going to point it at the reverse proxy because he'll resolve the host name and then forward it on to one of my services. So yeah, it's great. And so when I redesigned my network and infrastructure, I thought I'm going to have DNS. Is Pi-hole the most robust thing for internal DNS? No, but I knew I needed it and I knew I wanted it. I'm so glad I have it now. Because I don't know how I'd keep 86 IP addresses straight. I think that's how many reservations I have and DNS entries I have. It's pretty wild. But yeah, I totally agree. Gabriel Gabu, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. How you doing? HomeLab New. Hi Tim. I installed Proxmox on a server, but I can't connect to it from a web browser. Any troubleshooting tips? I'm receiving an error from Chrome on a Windows PC. No. So the only thing I can suggest is I would start from the ground up. Can you ping the IP that Proxmox is on? Yes or no? So go a layer lower. Can you ping it? Does it reply? Yes or no? Okay, it replies. Okay, what port is it hosted on? I forget what the default Proxmox host, because I have mine through a reverse proxy. I don't have to worry about that ports anymore. I think it's 8006, but correct me if I'm wrong. That'd be the next thing I do. Can I get to HTTPS, IP address on port 8006? I think that's the port. Swap it out with the right port if I'm wrong. Can I get there? Your answer is no, because you can't get there. Okay, well, let me try a different browser. Let me try curl. Curl that IP address. You're going to have to add an extra flag to curl because curl doesn't curl to unsecure endpoints unless you give it another flag. But then I'll drop down to curl and say, okay, no browsers work. Now does curl work? Like the most basic, GET request on this endpoint. If it doesn't, from there on, that one's tough. That one's tough. But I'd be surprised if it responded to a ping, but didn't then respond to a curl request. Because then that means the Proxmox web server piece is hosed. It's not working. Then what would I do? I'd reboot the thing, try the whole thing all over. If that didn't work and it's a brand new Proxmox machine, I'm wiping it because something's majorly wrong. And if all that doesn't work still, I don't know. then you really got me. I'd probably patch it and update it. That's another thing that I would throw in there too. Like if it is responding to a ping, not responding to a curl, run an update on it just to see if anything's fixed or maybe you got something mixed up or patched that shouldn't have been. That's what I go for. Arken, is it running on your network? Do you have any firewall software? Yeah, between you and the Proxmox. Yeah. Good questions asked. Great troubleshooting. Taniwa, don't forget about your plan to update VMware if you're using it in production. Yeah, I'm not using it in production. At least, no, not where I work and not home. But yeah, check the server firewall on SE Linux. That has been 90% of mine. Yeah, good. Yeah, great suggestions. Abdurham, hello Tim. I recently deployed Nextcloud on Rancher, but I would love to know how I can point the data directly to an SMB share. Thank you for the tutorials. Let me know when you figure that out. I haven't done so. So I'm running Nextcloud in my Kubernetes cluster. I don't have. So I'm running a multi-node Kubernetes cluster. Like I'm running for real Kubernetes, not that a single node isn't for real Kubernetes, but I've had to figure out how to run storage and how to get my load balancer working properly. I guess my point is that when I moved from a single node to a multi-node Kubernetes cluster, I set up storage, and so I used to choose Longhorn. I still have. Anyways, I still have Longhorn running, but for the most part, for a lot of my shares, I use NFS, and there's this NFS client provisioner that's there that you can use that I use. And so I know that doesn't solve your problem with SMB, but I haven't found a great SMB Samba share Kubernetes storage class that I've been willing to use. I know that some exist out there. I know that they exist, and maybe this is for you. But my Kubernetes cluster for storage over the network, it's a better way to put it, is NFS. And if you're dead set on SMB, Google SMB storage provider for Kubernetes, and I'm sure you'll find one. And there's a storage class, and it'll probably be a Helm chart, and you apply this Helm chart, and then that will give you SMB storage class that you can use with any of your workloads. I feel like I'm kind of making this up, but I think it exists because I think someone asked this in Discord. But if it should work the same way as NFS, if it does. I mean, if I were building it, I would do it the same way as the NFS storage provider. If that's the only thing that you have and it doesn't have to be NFS, I would highly encourage you to switch over to NFS and use the NFS storage class provider, only because permissions will mostly work. From Kubernetes that's running in Linux to an NFS share, which is a Unix share, which, most of the time permissions are going to be mostly right. I say that mostly right because there are some exceptions where people, create containers, they create these accounts, and then they write permissions to all those files in that container when it starts up, and that's a totally different issue But with SMB, I don't even know what the permissions would be, because you won't have a shared user unless this storage class does something to combat that. Anyways, I think I know what you're doing after the stream. Let's see here. Real quick, I do have to kind of wrap it up. So I'm gonna read a couple of these. I'll look for mentions, and then I do have to kind of wrap it up. Real quick, Paul Hill, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you so much. And Oakland me. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. I'm gonna look for mentions here. Food's here. Catch everyone. All right. When Discord, I don't know why iLoot. I always call you Discord. When iLoot mentions food, that's when I know it's getting tough. It's getting close to quitting time. Let me see. You guys are talking about that. Techno Tim, the Homeland bug has hit me as well, but I suffer worse symptoms. I have full enterprise stack. Yeah. I hear you. I mean, I have enterprise stuff, close to enterprise grade stuff here mixed in with some consumer grade stuff, and it's fun. It's fun. I love it. Takano, so on your servers, every VM is using your TrueNAS storage. Currently, all my VMs are using Proxmox drive storage, and one is using TrueNAS. So my Proxmox, the way, let me grab a drink. So Takano, the way that I use TrueNAS, so I only use TrueNAS for 4 things, and they're all storage related. iSCSI, so block storage, SMB, so file storage, NFS, which is file storage, and then Minio, or kind of like S3, or object storage. So those are the 4 ways that I use it, and I only use it for storage. I don't use any additional plugins. I don't have it try to be anything other than network storage for me, because I'm just like, well, I have separation concerns. TrueNAS does storage, Proxmox does virtualization, Kubernetes and Docker do containerization, and then I can keep it all straight in this crazy head of mine. And so I don't, and then on Proxmox, the way that I structure Proxmox, I keep all of my VMs local storage. So I have ZFS, I have a RAID 1+0, RAID 10, whatever you want to call it, or whatever you want to yell at me and tell me RAID 10 isn't a thing. But RAID 1+0 and with 4 drives, SSDs. And all of my VM storage is local on that machine. And so I don't run any VMs over the network. This is kind of what I was hinting at. Like, it would be nice to have shared storage on a dedicated machine with a 10 gig card. So maybe I could do iSCSI sometimes. So 10 gig over the network. So I would have block storage to my iSCSI connection that goes to TrueNAS. But all of my VM storage is local, 100% local. And then I add an NFS share to all of my Proxmox servers for backups or for ISO storage or for anything else. And that NFS share is actually provided by my TrueNAS server. And that was kind of the catch-22 I was talking about earlier, is that it's virtualized, but then it's also shared to the physical host. So I don't have great separation of concerns there. But I do it so that I can back up my virtual machines to my TrueNAS server, which is virtualized, but then that's connected to my disk shelf, which is physical. And so I don't use, so what am I getting at? I just don't have any remote block storage for my virtual machines. I'll put it that way. It's a little more complicated than that. And then so all of my virtual machines, local storage, all on SSD, all on my servers. And then anything where, and then I run backups and all that stuff, and that gets shipped off to TrueNAS, which is then ends up on my disk shelf on my pool, my ZFS pool. Hopefully that helps. If not, ping me in Discord, man. We can talk more about it. Mr. Lavos, I'm working on a toy game engine. What are you working on, Tim? Hey, Lavos, how's it going? A toy game engine. I like it. Yeah, good question. I'm always working kind of on the next thing while I'm finishing up the last thing. So for me, it's been Authelia. What's next? That's a good question. I got a couple of things. Other than that, it's just been kind of life and work and yard work and, all these additional things now that it's summer. But for the most part, more tech. I say this a lot, but I got a couple things coming. Hopefully the next thing I'm working on won't take as long to get out. But toy game engine sounds super awesome. Huge. Oh gosh, you totally got me there. Hugh_Jazz. I like it. I like it, Hugh. Jazz. So good. So good. Thank you. Thank you. That was so good. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. I've never seen that one. I totally fell for like a Simpsons episode. Anyways, I'm gonna look for direct mentions because I do have to wrap it up. And while I'm doing this, I'm just gonna let you know that, hey, you guys, the conversation and that we're having now doesn't have to end here. We have a great Discord community full of lots of members. A lot of the people that you see in here are also in Discord. And if you're not a member of Discord, I highly encourage you to join. We have a lot of people who talk about a lot of different tech stuff. Whoa, I was way behind today, but you guys have lots to say. Thank you so much. We talk about a lot of tech stuff, a lot of non-tech stuff, a lot of home lab stuff, a lot of non-home lab stuff. So it doesn't matter. But if you want a place to talk about tech in general, a lot of chit chat throughout the day and throughout the evening, or want to bounce ideas off of people, absolutely join our Discord. PC Geek, thanks for the clip. I totally fell for it, but I love it. It was perfectly named. I've never seen that one before, but now I know. Absolutely join our Discord server because it's awesome. You'll find a lot of helpful people. I say this a lot, but I never expected to have anyone in there besides myself, because for a while it was just me and some bots I wrote, and now we have over 4,000 people who are in there. Lots of people who are super duper helpful that go above and beyond what you would normally find in any other community. I've said this a few times, but we have people who just spin up environments just to help other people out. And like, you won't find that, you can't even pay for that kind of support in IT, and especially from just a community of people who are genuinely interested in tech. So I appreciate it to everyone who does that. I absolutely appreciate it to the mods too, who keep things in order, who keep me in line too, and remind me where to post content. But I really appreciate it, and I would appreciate it if you join. I will be back on Twitch Saturday for sure, and then I might have something out this week. Have a fantastic weekend. If you're in the U.S., hopefully you get some relief from the heat. If you're anywhere else, I hope you have great weather too. It sounds like a lot of people had a lot of good weather, so I appreciate it. I will talk to you at least on Saturday. If you have questions, hit me up in Discord or on Twitter. I'd love to have a conversation with you. If you have something on your mind or have some ideas, let me know. But yeah, have a great weekend, and be good to each other. Take care, folks.